Is it Köstritzer or Köstritzer? I have no idea, but the can is dark. Hey, it's Bryon Lape back with a beer review, and here's a beer I'm not sure how to pronounce. Bauch nach den deutschen Reinheitsgebot. I need to find out the can where it had it with an M, so it would have been a dative case, I think. Yeah, Dane. So if it's Dane in mit, okay, nach dem deutschen Reinheitsgebot. Interesting, because it's Dame but Dane. Why is it not Deutschen? See, Dame nach dem. Aus bei mit nach von zu. They take dative. Für durch gegen ohne takes accusative. Nominative, subjective case. Nominative, accusative, dative, genitive. Nominative, subjective case, direct object, indirect object, possessive. I think that's how it goes. Anyway, what I don't know is if the syllable breaks on between the S and the T or the T and the R. So it's Kust, it's Kus or it's Kust, for the O, right? O, O. I think that's right. And it's Ritzer, it's T-Z-E-R, so R-I-T-Z-E-R. But I don't know if it's Köstritzer or Köstritzer. That's what I don't know. So if you know, please let me know. Schwarzbier, black beer. Schwarz is dark, black. Yeah, Schwarz noir. Yeah. Bier lager noir. Oh, okay. Even says in French that it's black lager beer. Oh look, product. I don't know. Produit de Allemagne. God, it's been too long. Been way too long since I've done French or German. Anyway, let's try the beer. They're going, hey, dog goofer. The dogs are actually all laying down, which is very weird. Toby's back up on the couch. The other two, Dozer's in his thing. They're just waiting for me to finish because they know they get cheese. Because they eat cheese between these things. Oh, look at that nice, dark, deep, rich brown color. Now, I did not pour this very well. This glass is deceiving because of the curve. And yes, I did get too much head there. So those who yell at me for my pours, in this case, you are correct. So in a black beer, Schwarzbier, in Germany, you should expect some deep roasted malts. Now, there are some smoke beers too, the Rauch beers, which I really do like, and some of which have been featured on this channel as well as on the web page of the breweries, which I am just flabbergasted that they wanted to do that, and I'm highly appreciative. And if you go find those, I don't know if I can link them in the description, but if you go find them, please let the brewery know, how much you appreciate the beers and appreciate my reviews. Now, this is a slightly blue glass, and it's odd, but it's the only thing I had that was big enough that wasn't a mason jar, which I have used on occasion, and maybe I should have, because the blue does make it a little bit darker on camera than it really is. But unlike, say, a stout or a porter, so on a stout you should get these bitterness and deep roasted malts from the malt, and a porter can kind of hover in between. You can have bitterness from malts, can have bitterness from hops. You're not going to get that in a Schwarzbier. Now, the dark beers are going to be more subtle, so it's almost debittered malt. In Belgium in particular, they do use a debittered malt. So some of those dark Belgian beers, part of why they're not thick and they're bitter because they do use debittered malt. So what that means is the husk has been taken off before they roast it. So they malt it, take the husk off, and then when they roast it, you don't get those tannins in the beer. And my phone has decided to go dark. So I gave this a beer a 3.5 in 2014, so 5 years ago. What date? What is underneath the glass? There's a bump here. I guess I got the placemat wet at some point. April 7th, 2014. National Beer Day. Huh. Here's what's weird. I don't remember ever having this, and yet 5.5 years ago I had it. So what you get is a roasted malt. You get a hint of that darkness, but you don't get the bitterness. So you get roasted malt, you get slight nuttiness, a little bit of coffee in the after flavor, but you're not going to get the bitterness. Does it have the IBU? 22 IBUs. I mean, for a beer with any amount of hops and any amount of dark malt to only be 22 is unbelievably smooth, okay? So if you don't like dark beer, you're afraid of dark beer, it's too thick, it's too whatever, too bitter, this is a beer you got to check out because it's smooth, it's malty, has some lingering sweetness, but not a whole lot, and there's hints of coffee. This is a great introduction to stouts. Oddly enough, you can say, but lager and ale, I get it. Because this has some of those flavors that you get in a stout or a deep porter that's not too hoppy. But it doesn't have the thickness and the hoppiness, that too, but doesn't have that overly roasted, almost burnt tannin flavor that you get from a stout. So, and it's not it is a Schwarzbier, it's not a Hauch beer, so you don't get those smoky flavors. Some people don't like those smoky beers because they're too oak, especially the oak ones are much darker. I don't know about mesquite. There was something else that people used to do smokes a few years ago. It wasn't apple. I don't know, cherry wood, I think. Those were strange. So you get the sweetness, just a little bit of bitterness. And because that sweetness, you can have this with a lot of savory meats. And unlike, say, a Helles Lager or a Pilsner, which is going to come in and just wipe your tongue clean, this is going to leave a little bit of residual sweetness and a little bit of residual dark malt flavor. And those savory meats are going to kind of come up a little bit more. Now, I wouldn't pair this with anything like one of those lighter beers. These are definitely something, sausages especially, smoked sausages, spicy sausage, savory meats. It's going to be tough to pair this with a vegetarian dish. Maybe if you get some grilled vegetables of various sorts, but things that they got to have a real savory flavor, so that's part of it. And my dogs are now making weird noises off to my right. Everybody okay? Oh. Dozer went into Toby's box. He got sick of Egg's box. So you can see it's got a nice light brown, almost like a dark brown sugar colored head. Very smooth, very mild, very enjoyable, very inviting as far as a dark beer is concerned. So if you are kind of afraid of dark beers, and I'm reading this very seriously, this is the kind of beer you want to check out. A Schwarzbier. You probably want to keep the IBUs below 30, so the international bittering unit, so it's not too bitter. It's not a stout. You start getting over 50 or 60, you get into stout territory, maybe, well, you might, over 40, 45, you're going to get in a little bit of the dark porter territory. Get over 60, you're starting to get into the stout territory if the bitterness is from the malts. I know many people keep telling me there's no difference between a stout and a porter, and that's baloney. But the biggest difference is supposed to be, depending, I know there's all kinds of stouts now, but in general, it's the source of bitterness. It's either hops from the porter or malts from the stout. So this is pretty good. I'm actually going to check into it again. I don't normally check into beers a second time, considering it's been over 5 years and I'm shooting a review. I got some merchandise. Schwarzbuckler level 3, awesome. But very good beer. I would like to try this on draft. I think, here's the thing, it's a bit on the fizzy side, but hey, and I guess I'm imagining I got this at Jungle Jim's 5 years ago. I don't know. I can't imagine that was a bottle share of some sort, but I would like to try this on draft. So Germany's #1 black lager beer. So if you know if it's Köstritzer or Köstritzer, please let me know in the comments below. You can make all kinds of comments you want about my German. I absolutely appreciate it. So Zutaten, Wasser, and that's some kind of malt. Gersten malt, Hopfen, hop extract. Okay, so ingredients are Gersten malts. I don't know what Gersten malts are, but water, malt, hops, and hop extract. Now, let's do it in English. Malted barley. Oh, that's what it means. Okay, which is what I expect. Water, hop extract. Awesome. So it's interesting that there's hop because there's not a whole lot of hop characters in there, and I don't know what kind of hops they use. I really would love to know. Bitburger. Oh, it's imported by Bitburger, Everett, Massachusetts, and then it's in French, which my French is horrible, so I'm not even going to try. So thanks for clicking like over here. Thanks for subscribing. And for those of you who wanted to see me review beers drunk, you now have your wish fulfilled. I'm not going to edit this one. I'll be sober when I edit, whenever it is, probably in January. I've been doing these I've been releasing them once a week because I just haven't been getting the views, and YouTube is just going nuts. But here's what's crazy on BitChute. I'm pretty sure when this one gets copied over to BitChute, I bet you it gets 100 views in less than 24 hours. That's how it's been going. Thank you very much, and we will see you. And if there's a beer you would like to see reviewed on this channel, please let me know. If YouTube shuts me down, we're going to Mines, we're going to library, we're going to BitChute, and all that full time. Thank you very much, and we will see you. Goodbye. Prost. Ein Schwarzbier mit jeder Dinger. These beers are good. I've had this before. Really? When? $2014. I don't think I was doing beer reviews back then. Whoops. Scheisse. Alright. I mean, I was doing them when Dale was still working at AAA. It's nutty.